Hello everyone, how are you doing? I hope that you are doing so very well. Today I'm here to talk to you about all the books that I read in the month of September, but first let's talk about the Kindness Challenge. Last month's Kindness Challenge was to do something kind for someone who lives with you. I mostly just did a lot of cleaning for my mom. I'm putting stuff up on Craigslist, trying to get rid of it, just working on that for my mom. This month I'm going to challenge you to do something a little bit different. In the US we do a thing called trick-or-treating. I'm sure that everyone knows exactly what trick-or-treating is, so I don't know why I thought it was necessary to state it like that, but trick-or-treating is a big thing. Even adults go trick-or-treating sometimes. So I'm gonna challenge all of you to do something a little bit different with your trick-or-treating. I did this a couple years ago and I really liked it. I thought it was a lot of fun. I baked cookies and instead of getting candy, I went and gave something to all the people who were handing out candy. You could still go trick-or-treating and maybe just bring some baked goods or bring something for the people you were getting the candy from. Obviously this isn't gonna be possible for everyone, but I thought it was something a lot different and pretty fun. This is just a free month. Find a random act of kindness that you really like, that you think is awesome, and do that this month if you can't do the trick-or-treating thing. Also, I just announced BookTube Bible-a-thon that is starting up, so you are totally free to join. I started on the 1st of October, but you can join whenever. I will leave a link to it here and you can go check it out. And now let's talk about the books. I read 4 books in the month of September, which is still a lot, but it's not a lot for me. I'm in the middle of a lot of books and I just had a really big problem finishing a lot of books. Let's call that problem Netflix. I watched a lot of Netflix this month and it took away from my reading time. It's taking me forever to get through Alexander Hamilton, for me to get through Empire Storms. It's just taking me forever to get through anything. I'm gonna work on it this month, gonna get through a lot of things and hopefully get to Crooked Kingdom ASAP. I also haven't read my book club book, so I gotta read that this week as well. First up, we've got Alcatraz versus the Evil Librarians by Brandon Sanderson. This book is about a boy named Alcatraz and he has never really felt like he fits in, and he also has this problem where he breaks things, like everything. He's been bounced around from foster family to foster family to foster family, and one day he gets a weird package in the mail, and then this guy shows up and is like, we're gonna go on an adventure, and then his life totally changes after that. It's a middle grade fantasy and it's a lot of fun. If you watch my last book haul, you'll know that I got an arc of the 5th book in the mail, and I had not started the series, so I was like, this is the perfect time. This book was really intriguing and very classic Sanderson. It had a lot of setup, but it was very much a first book. It had a lot of info dumping and just like telling you about the world and showing you what's going on rather than a lot of action, and the pacing was a little bit off at certain points for me. There was also some Harry Potter shade in there, which I found absolutely hilarious, and I love Brandon Sanderson's sense of humor and how he writes his humor in his books, and that was very apparent in this book. I can definitely see the world expanding and getting bigger and getting even better, so I'm definitely going to continue on. I gave this a 3.5 out of 5 stars. Next up, we've got The Kite Runner by Khaled Hosseini. Don't know how to pronounce it, I'm sorry. This is about a boy named Amir, and it tells about his childhood in Afghanistan. There's a day where really everything changes for him. Later on in life, after he has moved to America, he has to deal with some of the things that he's been running away from for a very long time. This book was so emotional and so heartbreaking, but also so good. I read this for Diversathon, even though I didn't finish it during the week of Diversathon, because that was a little bit of a crazy week for me. To be honest, I haven't really thought a lot about Afghanistan or about what it's like, but this book describes Afghanistan before the Taliban took over, before it was war-ridden, and it's really interesting to see that Afghanistan versus the one that Amir visits later in the book. This is also a really great story of friendship. Amir's best friend is Hassan. He's the son of a servant in Amir's house, and he's also a Hazara, which is a people that are looked down as lesser in Afghanistan, so there's a lot of bullying that goes on. I also really loved seeing Amir and his dad in the United States because it's totally different for them than when they were in Afghanistan, and you see a different side of both of them. I feel like I learned a lot from this book and I'm really glad that I read it. I gave this a 4 out of 5 stars. The next book that I read was More Happy Than Not by Adam Silvera. Everyone told me this book was going to be heartbreaking, and they were definitely right. This is about a boy named Aaron, and he feels like he has a great life, he has a great girlfriend, but then he starts having these feelings towards his new best friend Thomas, and in this world there's a procedure called Lateo, and it makes you forget memories and forget certain things, so Aaron decides that he wants to go through that rather than deal with the fact that he is gay. There's a lot more to it than that. That is the just very basic plot without giving away any major spoilers. Like I said, this book was very emotional. It was very heartbreaking. Along with being gay, Aaron is also a person of color. I believe he's Puerto Rican, but I really could be wrong on that. The world that Aaron lives in is so different from the world that I grew up in, because I grew up in the Midwest in a pretty affluent suburban neighborhood, and he is growing up in more of a low-income area of New York City, so it's totally different socioeconomic backgrounds, and that was really interesting to read about. The main issue that I had with this book was the relationship building aspect of it. Aaron becomes close to his new best friend really, really fast, way faster than I feel like would be normal for a teenager, and so that just felt like insta friendship, and it was just like a little bit too much too fast. But beyond that, I really enjoyed it. I also read this with my friend Monica over at She Might Be Monica, and it was really great to have a reading partner because it was really emotional and we needed to talk about our feelings. I gave this book a 4 out of 5 stars. Last but not least, we have got Pride and Prejudice by Jane Austen. I freaking love Pride and Prejudice so much. I read this for Ostentatious, which is Zoe over at Read by Zoe's Jane Austen book club. We did a live show talking about Pride and Prejudice, so if you want to watch that, I will link it here. You can go check it out. Pride and Prejudice is about a girl named Elizabeth Bennet who meets this guy named Darcy, and he is a little bit of a douchebag, but then he does something that really shocks her. That's like a real clickbait version of the synopsis, but most people know what Pride and Prejudice is about, so you know what I'm talking about. I hadn't read it until I watched the Lizzie Bennet Diaries, and then once I watched it, I read it and I fell in love with it. I really love the movie adaptation, but I feel like the book explains things a lot better. Like, Darcy doesn't seem like as much of a douchebag in this book, and then he changes a lot in this book. His storyline and his character development makes so much more sense now. It's just such a classic, awesome love story, and I really love Elizabeth, and I really love Mr. Bennet. He's one of my all-time favorite characters. He's so hilarious. I gave this book a 5 out of 5 stars. And that's it. That's all the books that I read in September. I hope October will be a little bit better. Let me know down below if you're going to be participating in Kindness Challenge or what your least favorite book you read in September was. Thank you so much for watching this video, and I'll see you next time. Bye. All the books that I read in the month of October. September. We're in October. Spooky, scary skeletons and shivers down your spine. There's dogs barking now. What's happening in my life? 1,000... Nope, that's not that book. So emotional. To be honest, I haven't really thought a lot.